Hey guys, Bubba here with the Bubba News. All in one word, all in one news. How are you guys doing? It has been a very, very long time since I've done a video, and one since I've recorded from the Chromebook. It's probably been, 3 months, I think, since I've done a video, but I don't know if you guys have kept up with the news today, and I want to get into that here in a minute because there is so much going on. And it almost feels like they've been bombarding us with all this news. We've got some big things coming up with Israel, of course, with Netanyahu in the United States, and he's going to be here, I believe, until this next Sunday. What is that, the 9th, I believe? And there's just some crazy things. And I titled this video, Israel is Ready, We Are Ready. And I'm going to show you some of the billboards that they put up in not only Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, but also in Washington, D.C., because Netanyahu is in town, and they are going to meet tomorrow, Tuesday. They're going to begin the day 16 negotiations for phase 2. There's 3 phases with the hostage situation and the ceasefire with Hamas. And we are approaching day 16 tomorrow, and they're going to begin negotiations for phase 2 with the hostage negotiations going forward after these 33 are released in phase 1 of 6 weeks. And then the following 6 weeks ends on no less than Passover 2025. This is really going to get really crazy really fast. But first, before we get to the news, because you guys know I get too excited, I was in the hospital January 4th through the 9th, and my wife had to call 911. And we'll go into the details at another time because I want to get this news out. But I have a list of people, and I even reached out and asked for some of you for financial help because I'd fallen behind in bills because I hadn't worked since December. And you guys stepped up. And talking to my friend, Slow Driver 139 in New Jersey, her and I, we were discussing and we prayed about it. And she said, you know what? God is going to not only he's not only going to show up, but he's going to show off. And he did. Almost 200 of you people here on the YouTube site and on the Telegram, and maybe even others, have reached out to me via text or financial donation to help me get caught up with my bills and stuff. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, guys. I'm getting stronger every day. I'm actually able to see again. I'm able to actually start doing videos. Last week I did I jumped on with Aaron there. I got a minute with Brother Derek and forget the other guy's name. Forgive me, Brother John, maybe. But then on what was it? A couple nights ago, I ended up doing a live stream with Isaiah 153, and he lives in Southern Indiana. I live here in Central Indiana, but a smaller channel. But he's got such a heart of gold, and he's looking for the Lord Jesus Christ to return. It's just a blessing, and I can't wait to do videos with Lauren from God a Minute, or Lauren from Certainty for Uncertain Times. Sorry, darling. Matt over there to Shepherd for the King, and just Watchman River Tom, just encouraging me. I'm just going to shout these names out real quick, and then we'll get to the news. Tyler at Generation 2434, Carol Vay at YouTube. Your video last week or 2 weeks ago, what was it, with your sobriety of 7 years? Congratulations. That is so important, so impressive. And I love how God is taking us broken people and using us somehow for his kingdom. The Prophetic Watchman 88, Bill Bailey, Bema Seed Academy, Jackie, Keegan Fernandez, Dylan, Voice in the Wilderness, Johnny and Linda there with Arrow Ministries, Watchman Adam, Lee Brainerd at Soothkeep, Pete at Revelation 3:10, and Lauren, Certainty for Uncertain Times, and so many others. And I just want to say again, thank you all for just your prayers, your encouragement, your support, your financial help. I have the thing set up, and I'll have it set up on this as well. And I don't want to ask for money, but it does help me and help to provide. And I'd love to be able to quit doing DoorDash and to be able to do this full time and to be able to do videos. I'd love to do 3 to 5 videos a week. I'd love to throw in 1 or 2 live streams a week. I know people get a kick out of it because even in the chat and stuff, just encouragement and building up one another as we should be doing in these final days. And forgive me because I haven't done this for a hot minute, but I just want to go over some of the news things, and I'll try to rattle these off kind of quick. I know you guys might have to slow it down to 0.75 if I go too fast. My apologies, and I'll try not to go too deep because I tend to go, when people send me text messages, and I'll have my text message in the description box below. Feel free to text me anytime. Call me 24/7. Leave a message. It's a Google Voice number. It's 317-300-HOST or 4678. But we've got such a big week this week with Netanyahu in town. And I'll just get over here to, let's go right now. Let's get over here right now to, whoopsie, I hit the wrong button. I told you, I'm not very good at this because it's been a minute since I've done this. But let's see here. I'm going to pull this up here with the Telegram side. And I'll just start reading just because this is crazy. They put up 2 massive billboards there in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and they even put stuff up in Washington, D.C. because they're urging, this Saudi normalization. Many Israelis see Trump as their only hope to end the Gaza war, to release all the hostages, and to reach a normalization agreement with Saudi Arabia. All these signs were being put up, and with Donald Trump and Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince there of Saudi Arabia, saying, we are ready, and Israel is ready. An advancement of the Abraham Accords. But we're going to start hearing a lot about the Abraham Shield Plan, and I'll talk more about that towards the end of the video. But this is going to end up morphing into the Abraham Alliance, I believe. And this is what they've been discussing. But this makes me think of the Sheba and Dedan and the protesters of the Gog and Magog war that's coming up in Ezekiel 38, verse 13. Today, they say that the Saudi-Israel normalization will transform the Middle East. It's time for a new regional order. The day after is now. We are ready. Israel is ready, the coalition says in a statement. I mean, the things that are going on over there is just crazy. And these are some of the pictures that have been put up there, not only in Tel Aviv, but also in Jerusalem. But, earlier today, the Saudi royal palace came out and said, we reject any normalization agreements with Israel if there is a displacement of the people of Gaza and the West Bank. And this is what Trump has been mentioning here the past couple weekends, how he wants to get the Gazans out of Gaza so that they can rebuild. Saudi Arabia says that we support Jordan and Egypt in their positions against this displacement, and we affirm that ending the conflict, the Gaza war with Hamas, will begin the establishment of an independent state of Palestine with Jerusalem as its capital. And this is still what's coming up. And part of this phase 1 ceasefire and hostage deal is a 3-step plan of 6 weeks each. I know, 6, 6, 6. 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks to end up getting to not only dividing Israel, but dividing Jerusalem. Not only dividing God's land, but dividing God's city. So this is going to come to fruition, I believe, and it's going to be set up for the big UN Peace Conference coming up June 2nd through the 4th at the United Nations in New York City. And I believe that Trump's going to be involved, Kushner, Mohammed bin Salman, Netanyahu, of course, the UAE, and this is going to be a big pomp and circumstance thing that's coming up. But I put Bezalel Smotrich, which is their finance minister, in this picture because he said today he supports the normalization with Saudi Arabia, but it should not be based on the lies that Arabs have national rights in the land of Israel. It cannot come with giving any hope to the Palestinian Authority or to the Arabs in Judea, Samaria, which is the West Bank, and Gaza regarding the establishment of a Palestinian state. He still doesn't want it. Basically, Smotrich said a deal with Saudi Arabia is impossible if they demand a state of Palestine. Well, I hate to tell you this, Bezalel Smotrich, but you're going to have to stand down because God's word is faithful and true, and prophecy is going to come forward with them dividing God's land. Joel 3, 1 through 3. It's coming, Smotrich. Dividing Jerusalem is coming. 10 days are ahead. And I put this on the Telegram. And I'm going to go forward to this next one here because Trump was asked today about annexing the West Bank and Israel. Trump was asked today about annexing Judea and Samaria, and President Trump used his pen to demonstrate to reporters how small Israel is compared to the Middle East. So here, let's pause you here, Mr. Trump. We'll come back to you in a second, but he's talking about the big meetings that are coming up this week. And the storm, this is crazy town. The Saudi normalization agreement could be coming as well, and I'm going to get into that because I believe they're going to announce something tomorrow, Tuesday, regarding this. This is how crazy this is. So Trump has a deal for Netanyahu when they meet tomorrow. But will Netanyahu take it? Whoa, we'll get back to you in a minute, Small Business Association Administration. So Trump has a deal with Netanyahu when they meet on Tuesday. That's the big question. Will he take it? It remains unclear whether the announcement tomorrow regarding the normalization with Saudi Arabia will be symbolic or contain certain specific concrete details. But Trump did say that between him and Netanyahu, they will announce after their meeting in Washington on Tuesday at 6 p.m., I believe, a development in the contacts on a peace agreement between Israel and Saudi Arabia. This is going to be huge. And I go into more details. Israel has requested a clear and firm statement from Trump that Hamas will not be getting any governing authority in Gaza going forward. It cannot be ruled out that the president's repeated talk of relocating some Palestinians from Gaza to Egypt and Jordan is a highball tactic politically that will allow Saudi Arabia in the near-term future to declare later that it has now blocked this issue. So both sides get a win, including Saudi Arabia. The main focus of the Trump administration is to quickly advance normalization with Saudi Arabia, which it sees as the key of regional change, the ouster of Hamas from Gaza, the elimination of the Iranian nuclear program, and the flow of money back into the U.S. economy. In return, the United States will supply the Saudi Arabia nuclear reactors in the future, alongside strict oversight mechanisms, and enter a defense pact with Saudi Arabia to finalize the Abraham Shield Plan that will eventually become the Abraham Alliance. The deal will also include a commitment to a path to a new Palestinian state. Despite the denials, the wording has been agreed upon and coordinated with Israel. This got going in May last year under Biden, and will be issued as an American declaration that is binding upon Israel. In other words, once this gets going, Israel will not be able to back out. This is going forward, and the whole world knows this. The main obstacle to concluding this agreement is the current war in Gaza. The Saudis are demanding a halt in all the fighting in order to move forward with normalization. And Netanyahu will hear this as well from Trump in their White House meeting. This is why Trump's presidential envoy, Witkoff, was in Saudi Arabia and he was in Israel last week. And this is why he has been pressing for an immediate ceasefire as part of the first phase of the hostage deal. Witkoff reiterated the Trump administration's commitment to fully realizing all three stages of the hostage release and Gaza ceasefire deal. Apart from the statement on Saudi Arabia, Israel will receive, in response to its request, a clear and decisive statement from the president himself, Trump, that Hamas will not be able to remain in Gaza. The Middle East's best diplomats and statesmen are laboring over this formula that will allow for Hamas to be shunted aside without having to admit defeat. So Hamas gets a win. How ironic. Qatari officials are signaling to their U.S. counterparts that this can be done. Netanyahu believes that such a public commitment from Trump will prompt his finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, who's against this, to ease his pressure on Netanyahu and to neutralize Smotrich's threat to resign after the first phase of the hostage deal is completed. Netanyahu will be able to tell his coalition partner, who's very far right, Bezalel Smotrich, see, the goals of the war are being met with full American backing. So we've got some big things, and I put the quotes there from Haaretz and NPR and others there on Telegram. And this is big, too, with the Small Business Association, and I'll just tap on it real quick. You guys can read about it later, but all information on every small business in America is being given over to Trump and Elon Musk. How ironic. Talk about the coming police state under the guise of government efficiency. Remember DOGE? The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Spelling backwards, it's EGOD, but it's DOGE. The United States SBA has granted the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, under Donald Trump and now Elon Musk, full access to all small business administration systems. This includes access to human resources, contracts, and even payment systems being used by small businesses all across America. I said an earthquake is going off right before our very eyes. Day after day, we can see the writing on the wall. Those who have eyes to see and ears to hear are picking up what is being put down. So I'm going to follow up with that later. And I mentioned the billboards, that's coming up, but a lot of the wording that they were using in the stuff today on the Times of Israel and regarding the billboards and everything coming up is talking about on the matter of Palestinian statehood. This is from the Times of Israel today. The statement calls for a gradual but secure and sustainable separation framework that is backed by a regional collaboration. We are going to be hearing about these words more and more about the regional collaboration in the days to come. So let's get back over here. Let's keep going. And this is where it ties into, I'm going to tie in real quick to the Abraham Shield Plan. The Abraham Shield Plan of the Coalition for Regional Security is a new Israeli political security initiative. It leverages the regional opportunity faced by Israel today to ensure the country of Israel's security for many years to come. And I'm going to go over the top 6 points of this Abraham Shield Plan that's going to be an outreach of the Abraham Accords that will end up leading to the Abraham Alliance. 1 is closing the front of Gaza, returning all hostages, establishing a technocratic transitional government in Gaza, and a regionally led de-Hamasification. This is going to be a regional coalition of not only the current Abraham Accord members of the United Arab Emirates, Morocco, Bahrain, but this is going to include others like Saudi Arabia and a bunch more. Number 2, implementing and enforcing the agreement in southern Lebanon through a zero violations policy and strengthening the Lebanese army. In other words, Hezbollah let Lebanese army take over, but this is why they've extended the 60-day ceasefire with Lebanon and Hezbollah until February 18th, because they have not fulfilled their part of the bargain. Hezbollah has not. The Lebanese army has not. They have not been pushed past the Litani River. The Hezbollah people, this is why Israel has not left southern Lebanon yet. Number 3, following the fall of the Assad regime in Syria, and this is going to get very interesting going into the Damascus prophecy that's still coming up, Isaiah 17, 1-14, in the second camera angle, Jeremiah 49, verses 23-27. Following the fall of the Assad regime is harnessing, again, regional forces to stabilize Syria and turn it into a buffer against the Iranian axis. Number 4, deepening the moderate regional coalition, returning to a fast-track normalization with Saudi Arabia and expanding the Abraham Accords. That is going on this week in particular. This is why Netanyahu is here, to get this thing ironed out so they can end up getting to this two-state solution with the Saudi normalization with Israel and a coming 7 to 10 year peace plan. Number 5, implementing a blockade plan against Iran and preventing its nuclearization. Number 6, an Israeli declaration of a gradual, responsible, secure path of separation. We just heard this in the Times of Israel quote today, from the Palestinians, a secure path of separation from the Palestinians, meaning a two-state solution, within a decade, which is more likely going to take place in 2025, in my opinion, as part of, once again, a comprehensive regional agreement. And I put in there who's in the coalition for the regional security. Under number 4, which I just read, Israel will initiate the establishment of the Abraham Alliance, a moderate regional coalition that will regulate security, intelligence, and political cooperation in the entire Middle East between Israel, Egypt, Jordan, the UAE, the Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Bahrain, Sudan, and other moderate countries with backing of the United States and the West. And when they say "and the West," this includes the European Union, because Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has been traveling the past 6-8 months back and forth to Greece. He's been going to Brussels. His people were just in Oslo, Norway a couple weeks ago for meeting number 2 or 3 of the two-state solution. We still have the two-state solution meetings coming up in Cairo, Egypt. We still have them coming up in Amman, Jordan. We still have them coming up in Ankara, Turkey. And before the big global peace plan at the United Nations, June 2-4, they're going to have the final hurrah taking place either in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, or in Jerusalem, of all things, before they announce this big UN peace plan in June. Israel will work to define the Abraham Alliance region as a special trade zone in the Middle East, and they will work through Saudi Arabia as a global economic hub. Saudi Arabia, with their Vision 2030, not only do they want to have Gaza and rebuild it, because Mohammed bin Salman sees investments. So does Kushner. So does Trump. So does the UAE. But part of this whole thing with Saudi Vision 2030 is he wants to make Saudi Arabia the Europe of the Middle East. And he wants to take Saudi Arabia and allow it to be the crossroads of the world. From India to Europe, from China to Africa, going through Israel and through Saudi Arabia. The stuff they have planned, guys, is absolutely nuts. Israel will use, I'm going to finish up with number 5 of the Abraham Shield Plan regarding the blockade of Iran getting nukes. We're almost done, guys. Probably about 5-7 minutes left. Israel will announce the blockade plan against Iran. It will advance military actions against Iran from the region and accelerate cutting off the quote-unquote tentacles of the octopus of Iran. Israel will use all the assets and possibilities at its disposal, utilizing allies in the region and the West, including the United States, for the coming Elam attack, the western one-third of Iran, Jeremiah 49, verses 34 to 37 in specifics, to prevent Iran's nuclearization, which constitutes an existential threat to its security and the interests of the new Abraham Alliance countries. So you're going to have Saudi Arabia jumping on this bandwagon as well, because they know the things that are coming up. Now, this afternoon, Trump was pressed. Remember I showed you that video where Trump, he segued and he showed the pin with Israel, how it's such a small thing in the scope of all the Arab countries in the world. Well, today, we know, Trudeau, you caved with Trump's 25% tariffs, and so did Mexico, because both Canada and Mexico are announcing 10,000 troops to be moved to the northern border and the southern border to prevent everything coming into the United States that should not come in. Let's just put it that way. This came out today. Trump evaded questions on Israel annexing the West Bank, and instead he segued to note Israel's small country size in the region, but large brain power. Remember when he used the pen just a little bit ago in that video? At a news conference at the Oval Office today, Trump was asked if he would support West Bank annexation. If Trump would support Israel annexing the West Bank, which is Judea and Samaria, which belongs to Israel. Trump said, I am not going to talk about that. But Trump did say, tomorrow I will discuss with Netanyahu the annexation of parts. Key word right there is parts of the West Bank to Israel. Trump used key wording of parts of the West Bank. Without Trump using the exact wording of parts, Trump basically, if Trump would have said Israel talking about annexing the West Bank, rockets would be flying right now as I'm making this video at 8:10 p.m. Eastern time. But because he said he will discuss with Netanyahu the annexation of parts of the West Bank, this is why we have no big fanfare going on. I'm going to go to this next map here, because this is, and it may be hard for you guys to see, but everywhere here in the green, including the Gaza Strip, where they're going to connect it to the tunnel. They're going to connect the Gaza Strip with the tunnel to the West Bank. So people in Gaza can travel freely to the West Bank. People in the West Bank can travel to Gaza. Everywhere in green is where this is going to be the new areas that the state of Palestine will have control over. The current lines are here on the southern, as you can see, this black line that goes around. But you can see how the Palestinians here, south of Bethlehem, south of Hebron, are going to take parts of Israel. But you'll also see in here, under the existing Israeli settlements backed by the United States, Israel is going to take over parts of, this is Samaria up here in the West Bank. And look, Israel's going to get this all along here that is currently part of the West Bank along the Jordan River, because Israel wants to put up a buffer zone all along up to the Jordan River. So he went on to say, we don't know Trump's current finalized plan for 2025 with here dividing Israel, but we know of Trump's Middle East plan. And this is the map from his peace plan there in 2020 that includes much more than just dividing Jerusalem. Israel will get some West Bank land in the coming two-state solution, and the Palestinians of Judea and Samaria will gain some of Israel's land in return. But guys, I'm not going to keep you tonight. I just wanted to get this out because let me get back over here to the StreamYard. We are finishing up now, and I need to remember how to do this. Let's go to shift 1. There we go. So now we're back. Guys, it is getting crazy town. We've got a lot of big things coming up this week. I may even have to do a video tomorrow. I'll be filling up the Telegram again tomorrow, and I've been posting more on the YouTube side even today. And it's time to get busy for the Lord. Guys, all this stuff is so exciting to me because I've been studying Bible prophecy since 1984. I thought I prayed the prayer with my dad when I was 5 years old, 1975, 1976 time frame. And I thought I got saved. I prayed the prayer. And this is why Jesus said, in Matthew 7, you will come to me in that day and say, Lord, Lord, but did I not do this in your name? Did I not cast out demons? But Lord, and the reason that they say, Lord, Lord, is because they're so shocked. They're so surprised. And they may even say, but Lord, Lord, I prayed the prayer. The preacher man told me to pray exactly and say the same words after him. Lord, I prayed that prayer. And this is why Jesus will say to them, depart from me. I never knew you. Jesus says, my sheep hear my voice and I know them and they follow me. There's a lot of people out there that have prayed the prayer, but they've never had the heart change. They've never had the Ezekiel 36:26 experience where God says, I will take out that hard stone out of you and I will give you a soft heart of flesh. There's a lot of people that have prayed the prayer and they know a lot about Jesus. They know a lot about the Bible, but they don't know Jesus. This is why Jesus says, depart from me. I never knew you. And guys, if this is today, because this was me growing up. I grew up in a strong Baptist Christian home, Christian school, K-12, Baptist church, Sunday morning, Sunday school, Sunday morning service, Sunday evening service, Wednesday night prayer meeting. I went to Awana clubs, AWANA, 3rd through the 8th grade. I memorized so many verses, and even with the Bible, Awana Bible clubs, I memorized over 2,000 Bible verses, guys. But it wasn't until 1986, before I turned 16 at the end of 1986, but I was age 15, and I went to the Wilds. And the Wilds was a youth ministry, a youth camp there in North Carolina. I'll never forget this because Jerry Savinsky, he was an evangelist. And he said, a lot of you out there are riding on your parents' coattails. You may even have a bunch of the Bible memorized, Bible verses, but you know what? You have a head knowledge. You don't have a heart knowledge. And guys, that was me. And it wasn't until I cried out to the Lord and said, Lord, forgive me. I want you, your Holy Spirit, to indwell me, take over me. I want to be used by you. When I gave it all to him, that's when he started opening up and showing me everything that he has planned for us. Guys, I was on the verge of dying January 4th through the 6th. And it's only by the grace of God that I'm even able to put these messages out again today, to even record this video and share it with you guys today. Guys, the time is getting so short. There's so much I want to talk about with Shavuot coming up, with Passover coming up. So many things are getting ready to spin out of control, but they're all going to spin into God's perfect plan. Because we know, what is it, Jeremiah 1:12, God is watching over his word to perform it. And guys, God is not done with you, and God is not done with me. He has a ministry set out for you and a mission, and he has a ministry set out for me and a mission. And it's time that we finish strong for the Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you guys for watching. Seriously, let me know what I can do for you guys, how I can be a blessing to you. Let me know in the comments below. I want to do another live stream soon because I truly enjoy just being with you guys and having the fellowship. And I love seeing you guys just chatting away and just communicating and loving on each other. So we'll talk soon. I'm going to try to end this out because I haven't used StreamYard in a hot minute. But thanks again for watching, and we'll see you here, there, or in the air. Maranatha.